Hello YouTube, Camodo Gaming here, bringing you guys another episode of Scrap Mechanic. Today we are back with some Fast and the Furious builds. This is something that I've been getting a lot of requests for recently, ever since I've started doing quite a few more vehicle builds. So I've got 3 vehicles here today to show you guys. We might make this into a little bit of a mini-series, we might do some more vehicles. I actually have a couple ideas for some cinematic, almost movie-style videos using cars like this, so let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and let me know what other types of vehicles you would like to see in this series. Now, we still will be doing another theme world. I'm hoping to start that up towards the first of next week, maybe midweek, so don't count this as the main series or main Scrap Mechanic series. This is morely a side series. But anyways, folks, let's jump right into these creations. Okay, folks, I am going to admit here, I am not the biggest Fast and the Furious fan. I used to love the movies when I was younger, especially the first through probably about the 4th movie, but then I just kind of lost interest. But I understand a lot of people love the movies. I actually love the cars in the movies. That's the main thing that I like, the different modifications, the different types of cars that they've done. So, the first car that I could think of for the Fast and the Furious movies was Dom's Charger, and it's just an awesome car. It's a 1970 Dodge Charger RT, I believe. Very awesome in real life, and the modifications and the different versions they've had in the movies have been really cool. Now, any Fast and the Furious fans might already know this middle car is morely an experiment. We'll cover it last. Each one of these cars actually has unique features to it. This last one here is a drift car, which I know it's a little odd for a Dodge Charger to be a drift car, but it is. I'll explain how that works here in a bit. This car over here is probably closest to Dom's Charger in the movie, and Furious 7 had an off-road Charger, 1970s Charger, and I've actually mimicked it over here. So each one of these has different capabilities. Now, Dom's Charger, it changes, it seems like, a lot. I think towards the end of the first movie, in which, spoiler alert, even though this movie's like 15, 16 years old, it crashed. So I think that's why the Charger has changed a little bit as far as what I've seen from pictures. So I went with the version that's probably in between the first movie and some of the later ones. But yeah, the version that they have, or at least in the first movie, it's got a little bit more chrome here on the front, which we have chrome pieces in Scrap Mechanic, but it was hard to fit those in with the headlights to make it look right. So I would say from a visual standpoint, this isn't too bad. It looks pretty accurate. There is certain aspects of the Challenger that are, or the Charger, I keep saying Challenger because Dodge, but there's certain aspects of the Charger that are hard to mimic with the parts we have in Scrap Mechanic. So I think I did a pretty good job here. Now, this one is fully featured. It's got a detailed interior. There's a couple things that I had to skip on this version in particular. I had to skip using the, or having an opening hood, because the way the engine pokes out the top here, having a hood buckle up or go up over that's going to be kind of challenging. I think in the movie he has like hood pins, so I think the hood just pops right off. But yeah, first off, let me go ahead and thank all the mod creators. I'm using several mods. I'm using a new mod here. This is PhenoWorks, or PhenoWork TR's modded wheels here, and I'm using some Lord Payne and some Durf mods. So, as you can see, the engine's poking at the top. I'm going to give you guys one more little view of all the details here. This vehicle in particular has kind of a simplistic suspension setup. There wasn't a lot of room below this thing to fit a whole bunch of detail, especially the front end since the engine pokes out the top. But the other one, the off-roader, actually has a pretty awesome suspension in it. So, let's go ahead and pop the door open here. Now, I found several pictures from the movie, and I tried to mimic as close as possible the inside. So we kind of have a custom interior here. This is a seat block, so you sit right here. Now, in comparison to a lot of my other vehicles, by the way, we are in the town. Actually, the second version of the town with the drag strip. This is a little scaled up from my normal vehicles, probably by about 2 or 3 blocks wider than I normally do my vehicles. So yeah, you can see the detailed interior here. Now, I don't think his vehicle had any sort of NOS or anything in it in the movie, but I went ahead and put a couple NOS containers back here because we actually have a boost, and you can see the spider web. There's a boost in the back. Couple thrusters, it's on a button, it's got a timer so you can get a little 5-second boost going down, say, a drag strip or something. So, let's go ahead and show you guys how this thing drives. Let's go ahead and hop into here. Alright, we're going to shut the door here. Let's turn those headlights on. Now, the 3 key is the boost button. I'll show you guys how that works here in a second. We're going to give this thing just a run down the drag strip here. So let's go ahead and start up here. And we're going to initiate the boost here. There we go. We got 5 seconds of it. And... oh, that's actually kind of fun to drive. I don't know why. It doesn't bounce like a lot of the normal vehicles do, which I was really surprised by that. Normally when you're on concrete, scrap mechanic vehicles can be very, very bouncy and very hard to control, which this one surprisingly isn't. Let's go ahead and throw this down on the ground, that way we can drive it around, show you how it turns. One other detail that I'm not 100% sure about, a lot of drag cars in the back have a wider profile tire, and I went ahead and did that with this vehicle. But I don't know if the actual movie car had that. I couldn't find really any defining shots to let me know that. So I do have a wider profile tire in the back. Anyways, I'm going to show you this thing driving around. It drives just fine. It is a rear-wheel drive car. So the back end typically does slide out quite a bit on this car. But overall, I'm actually really happy with the way it drives for it being a fairly simple suspension car. So here, let's go up over here. Got a little bit of a road we can hit. It feels kind of weird being in this map. We are in the old town. You can see there's a power plant there to the right. There's a supercar dealership, which this vehicle would fit in. Go-karts and all that are over there to the left side. But yeah, saying drives really good. Really happy with it. I think it came out visually. I think it came out good. But like I said, with Scrap Mechanic, there are some limitations, and there's a couple things on Dom's Charger that I could be missing here. Now, one more thing I want to show you guys. I know the seat's a little low. It's just the way these seat blocks are. They always set kind of low. Even though the character's head looks like he's almost over the dash, he's a little short. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys visually what it looks like when you hit the NOS. So when you hit the 3 key, you'll see it light up. We're going to run into a building here, and you see the timer go off, and then it clicks. And then the timer, it's going to shut itself off the way the logic's set up. I want to thank Mr. Non-Newtonian for helping me set that up. He actually drew me a diagram in MS Paint. But yeah, overall, really happy with this vehicle. One thing I do want it to do, and I gotta figure out how to do it without cheating with thrusters, I would like there to be so much torque in the back end that this thing would pop wheelies like it did in the first movie, but I'm still thinking about how to do that. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next vehicle. Alright, so this is where some of the Fast and the Furious fans are gonna have to correct me a little bit. I know nothing about the 7th movie. I know there's this sweet looking off-road Dodge Charger there, and this is what this is modeled after. It is kind of obscure to me. I have no clue as to why they have this in the movie, but it is awesome looking. So here's my version of it. Now let's go ahead and put this off the lift. That way the suspension actually pokes out a bit. For some reason, this one has a beefier front end. It's kind of offset. I can only think maybe it's some sort of armor on the front. Not 100% sure. But I was able to use the other Dom's Charger as a base for this one and just build off of it from there. It doesn't have any headlights in the front. It has some sort of big bumper on the front and the rear. The rear is a little bit different as far as the shape. In order to get the 2 tires, it's kind of like an off-road. It reminds me of like a rally raid vehicle where they can change the tire stop if they have a blowout and just get a new tire from the back. So it's got the 2 tires in the back there. Suspension-wise, I was going to go with the wishbone suspension, but there's not much room in here, and it was really binding up when I did it. So I went with something a little bit more simple. These poles here, these pipe pieces, are set on a bearing, and it's on a controller, so it actually skews out, and then there's another bearing right here that skews and keeps the tire upright. But it actually works pretty good. Now this one also has a detailed engine compartment, so the hood actually raises up on this one. You'll get to see those Lord Payne parts a little bit better. So overall, happy with the way this one looks. Looks pretty close. Let me go ahead and get up on a lift here. Now there's something that I noticed in all of the pictures, or almost all of them. The roof hatch, there's like some sort of hatch or something up here that is missing. And I can only think a lot of the later movies kind of got into this weird kind of Mad Max style where they would chase down diesels or other vehicles, trains, whatever it might be. But a lot of the characters would jump from car to car. And that's the only thing that I can picture that being used for. So you've got that up there. Let's go ahead and hop down over here, give you guys a view of the interior. Interior-wise, it is somewhat similar to Dom's, except for it's got the extra seat here. I've removed the NOS on the inside. I've added some extra roll bars in here because I noticed it had some roll bars towards the back that kind of went out. So I've added those and, of course, cut the hole in the roof. Now, as far as features on this one is a pretty standard vehicle. It is just an off-roader. It's got the suspension here in the front that you can see is now upright, kind of poking those front tires out. This one, once again, handles really good. Now, I did change something about this one. I did add four-wheel drive to this. It was going to do the rear wheel like most Chargers, but something about that off-road suspension. It needed just a bit of assistance with speed and turning, so I went ahead and hooked an engine up to the front there. Let me go ahead and open up the hood real quick, show you that. That looks really awesome. I love those parts, by the way, from Lord Payne. You can see that there. Now let's go give this one a little bit of a test here. Kind of test its off-road capabilities. Alright, here we go. We're doing a little bit of backwoods driving here. Gotta avoid all the trees. It's weird seeing some of this older style terrain because the map I'm on was before a lot of the changes that took place here in Scrap Mechanic, so seeing a lot of stuff that looks kind of weird to me here in the old town. But yeah, overall this one drives really nice. Let's get some air. I might actually soften the suspension up on the front to give it a little bit more travel. But drives really good. It power slides a lot, even though it's a typically your four-wheel drive cars have a little bit more grip. But this one still, you can get it sideways here. Let's go ahead and throw it to the side. Actually, I just hit a bump there, so there we go. Up. Don't want to flip over. Now, I don't know, this one could have had some sort of boost in the movie. I have no clue, so if I got any of that wrong, somebody just let me know. I can always add the same boost system that's in Dom's Charger to this one here. It's pretty simple once I actually learned what I was doing with it. Let's go ahead and hop on a road here and kind of take this road up here. Oh, this is actually really fun to drive. I might do this setup a little bit more often with the off-road suspension because it feels good. So yeah, this is the Furious 7 vehicle. Like I said, really happy with it. Let me know what you guys think about this vehicle. And I'm still trying to think of which vehicles to go next in the series. The series has so many iconic vehicles that it's really hard to pick. I mean, it's still the first one always comes to mind is the Dom's Charger, but there's also a ton of other vehicles in the series that I might move on to. But yeah, let's go ahead. We're going to drive back towards the drag strip here. Try to hit a couple more jumps. We might actually run up this mountain real quick and get some air and show you guys how that, or at least how this vehicle handles that. Here we go. Kind of going through the trees here. Alright, you know, this might be one of my favorite vehicles now. I didn't realize how good this thing actually drove. And here we go. Some air. That would make a really good thumbnail. Oh, except for the whole fact we hit a rock on the way down. Other than that, we are okay, folks. Oh, we might be stuck here. Yep, we're going to be stuck. Another little thing that I might add, and I got to figure out how to make it to where I can turn it on and off, is the drift capabilities that you're going to see here on the last vehicle. So let's head back towards the drag strip, and I'm going to show you guys the drift charger. Alright, here we are with the last vehicle. Now, I don't want to exactly call this a drift vehicle. I would morely call it a power slide assisted vehicle. And I got the idea from Con. Watching one of his streams. I've got a system in here. It's not exactly like his system. I would say it's a little bit more simplistic, but it's something that I thought would work pretty good on a vehicle. Now, if you're asking, well, which car is this from the movie? This one isn't exactly based on one of the cars. I took Dom's Charger, made some modifications to the bumper and the rear end, and then added this little drifting feature in it, or power sliding feature, and went with that. This one is based off a paint scheme that I've seen in the movies, but I think it was on a newer Dodge Challenger. from what I actually saw, but I don't even know which movie it was in, but I know the paint scheme is very similar. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, what is a drift assisted vehicle or a power slide assisted vehicle? I know some people are going to get mad with my use of drift here, since this isn't exactly like a full-blown drift car. But back here, you're going to see right here, this is like a AD converter. And the AD converter is something that I've used on a lot of hover vehicles and a lot of my just flying vehicles in general. I don't think I've ever used it on a ground vehicle. And what it is, you see the two sensors. So when I turn the wheel here, that is going to cover up one or the other sensor, and those sensors are hooked into thrusters in the back. And that's going to assist this thing to get it sideways. So let's go ahead and just try this out. Let's close the door here, set here, and let me go ahead and show you guys it in action. So if I were to turn, you can see how it covers up one or the other side, and you can already see the vehicle starting to slide sideways. Now, I know some people are going to consider this some sort of cheating, but to me, the physics in Scrap Mechanic can be kind of weird in the first place, so I don't know if a drifting vehicle is 100% possible without using some sort of assistance. I know a lot of these rear-wheel vehicles, they will get sideways, but this thing, he'll stay sideways for quite a ways. So let's go ahead, we'll kick it sideways here, and you can see instantly how quickly this thing turns around. We can just kind of do like a burnout over here. Let's see. They really need to add a way to make it to where you can have like a handbrake. Somehow you could just stop or lock up one side of the wheels. I'm pretty sure there's a complicated way to do that, but I want like a block or a part that does that. So anyways, let's go ahead. We're going to try to power slide around this end here. So we're going to throw it in. You got to watch how fast you do it, because sometimes that happens. You will flip over. This vehicle is a bit top heavy. Let's go ahead and get it going here. There we go. Slide it out. You can try to see, you can see some of my counter steering that I'm having to do in the front of the vehicle. So let's say we throw it sideways here, and you got to counter it back. I like it because it doesn't grip immediately like the other vehicles when you get sideways. Like as soon as you make that counter steer in the other vehicles, it just goes wherever you want it to go. Here you've got that force of those thrusters still sliding those rear tires to the side. So it actually is really fun to drive. You just have to do it on like a flat map like this. And I'm going to flip over again. No, at least I keep landing on my four wheels. That's good. So yeah, let's go ahead and throw it sideways again here. I like how you can almost just do it in place. Now, you guys can go in here and play with the thruster levels. If you go, of course, more extreme with it, the faster sideways you're going to go, the more extreme the power slide is going to be. But it's still something that I'm experimenting with a little bit, and I'm actually fairly satisfied. The only thing I can think of doing, and it's kind of hard to tell here because the flat map, which is supposed to be flat, is actually kind of bumpy. I might have one more thruster activate in the front when one of those sensors gets covered, and maybe it'll put some downforce, or I call it downforce. It'll make some of those thrusters aim down and push down on the vehicle and try to keep it from flipping over. That's the only thing I can think of adding. I forgot to mention on Dom's charger, I actually have those when you hit the NOS switch. There's a couple thrusters in the front that will activate when you're doing that. But yeah, you can see the glow off those mini thrusters in the back when they're activated there. So overall, it's a fun little vehicle to drive around in. I'm still experimenting with it. That's why I'm not 100% satisfied with this. If you guys have any suggestions for this vehicle, I'll probably talk to Con a bit. So I'm pretty sure he's got a little bit better system. Or he actually had some sort of memory bits or something in there. Whatever Con, we call him Con things because only he understands what he's doing there. So I might talk to him a bit and see if we can get something like that fitted into this vehicle here. That, and I might put a NOS system in this vehicle too, a little boost. Anyways, folks, that's going to about wrap it up for today's episode of Scrap Mechanic. Let me know what you guys thought. If you want to see some more Fast and the Furious vehicles, or any vehicles in general, I'm actually kind of liking taking the normal vehicle and trying to add features and maybe make it a bit more on the extreme side. So we might do this a bit more. Like I said, we will also have our new theme coming up really soon. I don't want to give it away. Some people in the Discord know what it is, but I don't want to go beyond that. I'll let you guys know whenever we have the first episode ready to go, and then we'll do that. But we'll also probably do some more of these vehicle builds in between, because these are something that I can get to, spend about 2 or 3 hours on and kind of make different versions of it, and just have a little bit of fun with that, because I love creating vehicles here in Scrap Mechanic. But anyways, folks, If you like to like and subscribe, everything helps my channel. Hope you guys have a great day. We will be returning with some more brick rigs, more scrap mechanic, and I'm still got my eyes on a couple other games. I just gotta find some time. We've been really busy the past couple of days. I've already explained this in another video with the hurricane situation that's going on. But anyways, it should return hopefully kind of to normal next week, and then we'll get out some more videos for you guys. Yeah, hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you guys next time in Scrap Mechanic.